Dear fans, sooner or later it was natural I should begin asking some of the cameramen about their equipment. Don't get me wrong, I'm not the only guy in the group who goes in for photography. All four of us are dead keen on it these days. Movies, stills, color stuff, the lot. The interest didn't come to us in a flash. It was sort of a gradual process. We noticed the difference between various cameras which were poked at us. Some of them would have a great many flash bulbs, which seemed more like sunray lamps. Others produced the same effects but without so much elaborate equipment to muck about with. That's when we started asking, don't you need more light? Can you really get a good color picture of us with that little camera? Or how much did that cost you then? And of course we started getting answers. A few months later we thought we were experts, even if we hadn't tried to take any pictures ourselves. Hey up, we'd say. Here comes one of those thunderbolt jobs. When that flash goes off, it'll burn your nose. Ah, this bloke's okay, we'd say. Look at the fabulous lens he's got on the end of that Pentax. Pentax, you see. We were starting to drop brand names as though we knew all about it. It was when we started touring abroad that we decided it was time we got ourselves good cameras. We wanted to be able to remember each trip afterwards and to be able to show the folks at home real evidence that we'd sucked ice cream beneath the Eiffel Tower or bought corn on the cob outside Central Park. I've got thousands of pictures at home right now, taken in France, Sweden, Australia, America, Ireland, and of course in England. Must have gone through rolls and rolls last May when we went on holiday. I wish you could see them all, only most of them might not interest you because they're views with tiny little Beatles waving in the background. I think this book is a fab idea. It means you can look through my album pictures without coming around to the house. Not that I wouldn't like you to come around the house. I'd love you to come, but I can't see all of you fitting in the front room, and anyway I doubt my mother would have enough tea to go around. So this seems like a good alternative. Saves the tea and gives you all a chance to see some of our star's great photographic masterpieces. Don't forget that if you come around, you'd have to be terribly polite and say, oh, isn't that a nice one, about every flipping picture I showed you. That's another thing I'm helping you out by getting this book together. I took my first photograph when I was 5 months old. Apart from taking it, I also ate it, which was most selfish of me because there was a nasty gap in my mother's album of family snapshots for ages afterwards, until my dad could get around to taking a picture of me trying to ride a neighbor's pet poodle to fill the hole in the page. I tried to take my second picture at about 11 years later, but the manager of the cinema wouldn't let me. You see, it was a life-size blow-up picture of Brigitte Bardot advertising the movie that was showing that week. I was all for taking it home because I thought it was a marked improvement on the wallpaper they'd got in my bedroom. Enough of this frivolity. What I'm really trying to get at is the fact that I didn't take up photography at an early age. I took up drumming, but not photography. I was tapping out rhythms on tin cans before I had enough teeth to say Gene Krupa. But I wasn't shooting pictures. Sometime in my early teens, I went through the usual box camera craze. You know, the sort of thing. The captions would read, Dad in the garden, or Mom and Dad paddling in the sea. My friend Fred with Bonzo the dog. You can't count Brownie stuff as real photography. My interest in looking at photographs must have started when I began to drum with local groups in Liverpool. It was geared to see copies of press pictures which had been taken while we were on stage. I've still got one or two around showing me with a beard. They were taken 2 or 3 years back when I was drumming with Rory Storm and the Hurricanes at Butlin's holiday camps. In those days, there weren't all that many photographers around who wanted to take pictures of Ringo's star. It was after I joined the Beatles in 1962 that the photo sessions started to mount up. When we went to the top of the charts in England with Please Please Me, the cameras really started flashing. I wonder how many times we had our pictures taken since then. I'm sure we see an average of 10 photographers every day, and when we're working, and even if they only take 10 different pictures each, that makes a total of something like 70,000 shots since we started. One of the best things about being a Beatle is the opportunity we've had to travel all over the world. We've been to some really fab places in the last 18 months, and that's where photography makes good sense. It's all very well trying to describe some of these faraway places, but if you've got pictures, they can take over where your words run out. At this moment, my words are running out, which means it is high time I packed up this introduction and started showing you some of these pictures. I'll tell you all about each one as we go through them. And the great thing is that if I've forgotten where I took any particular shots, you can't go asking me awkward questions. I can just write some vague caption like Paul in the garden, or John and George paddling in the sea, or my friend Paul with John the dog, and there's nothing you can do about it. Can't wait to get started. And I promise to pack as many pictures as possible into the pages you're about to turn over. If there are lots left over, we'll just have to make another book of them next year. Sincerely, Ringo Starr. P.S. If everybody buys 2 copies instead of just 1, I'll have enough money to buy lots of new film for another book, no? Well, it was just an idea.